Hello there, everyone. This is Jaymes Sygrove here for the British Theatre Skills community, and this is a pre-record of our Sunday session. So this coming Sunday, I'm unavailable because I'm an actor and I have workshops and things to do. So for this week, we are doing a pre-record, and I'm going to be joined by my very special guest and my co-conspirator in all of this, the wonderful actor Ray Murphy. So bear with me and I will add Ray Murphy to our chat.
It's a miracle we did it.
It's a miracle. Hello, Ray Murphy.
Hello, Jaymes Sygrove.
It's very nice to see you. Thanks for joining me.
A pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
I have to apologise because I know that I threw you in at the deep end with this. I said, Ray, I'm busy this Sunday. We need to do a pre-record and my guest is you.
Yeah.
So that was very naughty.
And I agreed quite considerably, didn't I?
But it's so lovely to have this chat with you. And actually, it's probably about lots of things that we've talked at before, but now we can go a bit more in depth on some things.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh, juicy. And like I say in my messages I put out, juicy nuggets. We want juicy nuggets of advice and things to do with skill and technique and anything that you found that is useful to know in this industry that we call showbiz. Okay. So I want to kickstart, and I kickstarted with when we had Jason Mark Williams, brilliant guest, Jason. Thank you so much, Jason, for joining us. I started off with Jason and I asked him about Panto. But Ray, I'm going to ask you about It's a Wonderful Life, because you ended up lastminute.com, bang, and you were straight down to Lyme Regis and you were in It's a Wonderful Life. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was wonderful. The director of that It's a Wonderful Life, Sue Gilroy, who is wonderful in every respect of the word, she invited me to audition because she's been doing rep season there at Lyme Regis, and this is a thing that happens in between things. So a Christmas show. I think she did a Christmas Carol before and things like that.
Right.
But this year it was It's a Wonderful Life, and yeah, it was really fun. I mean, I think I got in my head about it quite considerably because it was what was interesting to me about it was because the cast of It's a Wonderful Life in the film is absolutely enormous. So. Yeah. Plenty of multi-rolling, working in accent, like American accent as well, which I haven't done for a very long time, and I'm never sure if it's any good.
Yes, it is. You do a very good American accent. I can vouch for that.
But I think it's what I think was a challenge for me was because all of the characters are set in that one particular town, Falls. So it was trying to find, okay, not only do I need different energies and hopefully looks and stuff like that, but also to work with a similar accent for everyone because they're all based there, and also try to find the differences there. So
yeah, of course, because you were multi-rolling on this production, weren't you?
Certainly was, yes. I played, who did I play? I played Uncle Billy, Sam Wainwright, Mr. Gower, Ernie the taxi driver, and I think that's about it.
Amazing. And how do you tackle something like that as a performer when you step into it knowing that you've got these 4 or 5 different things to convey to an audience? Do you deliberately try to be as extreme with each of them so the audience kind of steps away from it being the same actor? Or are you quite comfortable with, hey, they know it's me, I'll give them a bit of this flavour, a bit of that flavour?
That's a very good question, and I'm not sure I can give a satisfactory answer to it. I think a lot of how I kind of approach things seems to be fairly intuitive. So I think it's like luckily it was the structure of this particular play was it was like scene by scene by scene. So it was not only you embody the character, but you embody whatever particular beat is going on in that scene. So I suppose it kind of informs each other in a sense. But I think it's just trying to isolate what each character's place is in the story, what their particular journey is, what the impact they have on the story, and see if there's anything you can do in order to tease out things like that. So, for example, with Uncle Billy, he is throughout the text, he is shown to be, in the kindest possible way, a bit useless, a bit panicky, a bit frenetic. He accidentally causes a lot of the grief. So it's trying to find a way that it was almost like there was a sort of childlike thing that kind of came out of that. So it's all sort of very high, perhaps I think it kind of came out as a sort of high-pitched voice, which was or slightly higher pitched in my register. And also I suppose it's one of those things where I'm like, I feel I'm fundamentally a nervous person, so it's just kind of bringing that sort of nervous, frenetic energy to him, focuses on different things, and it was all kind of like shifting different stuff like that. But say, and then trying to find a contrast, say, for example, like Sam Wainwright, who is one of George Bailey's best friends. He's a sort of like, he sort of develops into a sort of business tycoon type thing, really. But there's all that sort of warm sort of ease about him. So it's kind of like, well, yeah, we just do that. And I think it was a slightly deeper, more relaxed centering of where the voice was, and then the body sort of follows that, and you're like, well, I hope that this is reading clearer. That there is something.
Would you say that you come from a place of levels of energy when you're approaching characters then? Do you find a different place? Because I know from exercises back at drama school, I did some things where it's like, right, put the energy in your head, now put it here. Do you use anything like that with your characterization?
I suppose in a way, kind of, I suppose it's kind of riffing on sort of energetic / vaguely spiritual type things that are going on. So there's things like you've got a sort of head thinking center, and you've got the sort of real sort of emotional center here, or listening, or you've got something more deeper, grounded sort of things towards the base of your body. So I suppose if you kind of like, I find having those sort of centers being somewhat ascendant in certain characters.
That's a really interesting point to raise, because for anyone who doesn't know you, and I've known you for quite some time now, you have a background that is with tarot and other things in that area, and you're very knowledgeable about chakras and that kind of thing. So hearing you say about that different kind of place and the energy and things is really interesting. Is that definitely something that you tune into, maybe consciously or unconsciously?
I think probably now it's probably slightly more unconscious. It becomes more instinctive because I've been doing it for a while, I suppose. But it's still something I do with like warming up or sort of preparing for a show, is sort of opening up those areas whilst having a sort of protective thing as well going on, so you don't, and remember to shut it down afterwards, otherwise you go completely mental.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah. So I think a lot of what I kind of do is intuitive, but it's more I allow that to sort of bubble on the surface. My main thing really is kind of text work. What is in script? what's the story, how are they communicating, these sorts of things. And then just when that sort of groundwork is fairly as solid as it can be, and I am
Yeah.
quite particular in terms of how accurate that should be, then I find that the intuitive aspect of it tends to sort itself out, or things get discovered along the way. So yeah, I kind of jump into things not really knowing what I'm doing, but sort of having an idea of where it might go and just being like, okay, this is it.
So you mentioned text work there, and this brings me really nicely onto what I know as being one of your superpowers, really, in that you are an actor that is so good on text, and especially your Shakespeare work. So your verse speaking, and yes, you are you are a god, and you have saved me many a time when I've
Well,
gone, hey, this isn't scanning properly. What's happening here? And you go, oh, you just need to do this and do this. Yeah, line endings. It's like, okay. So, can you tell us about your Shakespeare work and how that floats your boat? Because I know it really does.
yeah, it does. I mean, I kind of, when I first trained as an actor at Guildford School of Acting, I think I, I enjoy like I'm going to go into this too much, but sort of like back in school, we always have that idea of learning Shakespeare or doing it from a very literary point of view completely kills any sort of interest that some people have. And I
Uh-huh.
think I did go through that stage, even though I was quite interested in the literary devices and stuff like that. There was a thing where I was like, um, so I think being able to, and I think I had the same thing with poetry as well. I think we just went, I can't remember what the poets were, but I just found it so insufferably pretentious that there was the lines broke there, and this is an enjambment, and that means it go that there's some sort of flow going on, and
Uh,
that's informed by something else. And I was just like, I was doing it because I could understand it, but not that there was any sort of love to it. So to actually kind of organically come back to Shakespeare and poetry and finding actually I do quite like them really, and it was just in the context of trying to be impressive academically that
uh-huh.
kind of made things go a bit awry. But yeah, so when I got into drama school, that was kind of what I was really sort of interested in, was the Shakespeare aspect of it. And
Uh-huh.
we did get to do A Midsummer Night's Dream, which was a delight. And yeah, this is why I kind of feel a bit like a fraud because I feel like I kind of, because I've got that background in being quite academic in terms of like the literary side of it and knowing what the devices are and seeing that there are technical names for the rhythm of things and how things work,
Yeah.
that there's I I think that's just the interesting thing. I love words. I love all of that sort of stuff. So being able to sort of enact that, but also having that thing of don't be academic about it.
Uh-huh.
I was always told when I was in drama school that because I came from that academic thing so much, I was honouring it far too hard.
Mm.
So in effect, I was trying to impress, which made it very unimpressive.
Yeah.
Like I was told, you're gilding the lily. Shakespeare can do that by himself. You just need to say what he's saying and
Yeah.
let poetry speak. So being able to, so it does take a little while to be able to release the academic side and just let the words
Yeah.
flow through you and trust that all of the work and the understanding comes through that. And I think that's kind of what the joy is for me with Shakespeare, is that it is, even though he has, I'm sure as anyone will probably know, within the text, he signposts through all sorts of devices what he envisions what the actors want to do, or what the context of the relationship in the scene is. And I think it's just it's the enjoyment of making that happen and trying to keep it alive and letting it flow through you and all of that stuff. So yeah, it's just a joy, really. And I was finally joyfully able to do several tours. One with you, of course. One, two? Was it one, two?
Two. We did two, dear boy.
Two, that's right.
We've done two. Memorable.
There's so many I completely forget because we work so often together.
I was the Titania to your Oberon, I'll have you know.
I know, which is such a joy.
A wonderful wig. Oh.
But that in the grand scheme of like when I graduated was quite a long time in the making. Like even though I was interested in Shakespeare, I only managed to get the chance to do Shakespeare productions quite recently. So being able to do it and find, yes, this is my bag, baby. I love it. And and then having those wonderful moments, especially with you as Titania and I was being Oberon, and finding that even though the words are the same and the rhythm of it is fine, the energy could be totally different
every performance,
every single time. And that's the joy of finding someone that really gets to do that, because
and that's not hyperbole at all. And what we spoke about it so often, every single time we did that, especially the confrontation scene together.
Yeah.
Different, completely different. It could change depending on what the weather was like that day, what you'd had to eat, whether you had a good night's sleep. It was just.
Yeah. Do you remember? Speaking of the weather, do you remember that time? I think it was it at Penley Park?
Yes.
Where it was a beautiful day, and then the confrontation scene happened between Titania and Oberon. Heavens opened throughout that entire scene, and as soon as we went on, blue skies again. It's like you cannot create that kind of magic, but maybe there's something you can create it. There's something energetically about what we were doing. So we were the
energy. And I think that's really interesting and helpful for any performer, not just young performers or graduates at all, to know that actually that fear of Shakespeare, and I think it is a fear for lots of people, the technique that is behind it. And I know for myself, I heard lots of things about the pentameter and line endings and all that kind of thing. And unless you have really good people passing that on to you, where do you learn that stuff? And hearing it from you, I think it's just really helpful for people to know that actually you can breathe through it. It doesn't have to be a big weighty thing, and people will help you. You've helped me many a time, and Shakespeare wants to help the actors. That's why he's written it. He's written it for the actors.
That is exactly it. It's like everything that he puts and the way that it's kind of arranged on the page is there in service to the actor and being able to do it. And I mean, I think there were certain, I don't think I experienced this myself, but I know from speaking to other people that like in drama school, you've got voice lessons and sometimes like poetry and sonnets come up. And I think it just sort of came up recently that there was this this trend, I don't know if it's still going on. It's like, okay, so you've got a sonnet, it is all one sentence. That means you have to say everything in a single breath. Go. It's like, no, that is absolutely ridiculous. And that is some of the things that I think even people that want to be in the industry and doing Shakespeare and poetry and that sort of stuff, that kind of instills so much fear into doing it wrong or having to do it in a particular way, that it just people suddenly like, no, I don't want anything to do with it. Whereas of course you've got sonnets which are I mean, uniformly, they are full of really detailed thoughts that go this way or this way or this way. Every time you think, that's a new breath, that's a new shift. So don't have these impositions on yourself and trust what the writer has given you.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you mentioned in drama school, if I can just hop back a little bit, because you came from a uni background before you went to drama school, didn't you? So can you tell us about what it was that you studied and how that shift happened and going to drama school, what lots of people would say as in is later, really, because so many tend to go at sort of age 18, 19, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I was at school and choosing whether to go to university, well, not whether to go to university or not, I was going to university. It was what I was going to study or apply myself to. And I always found that I was flitting between psychology and drama. And I think part of me realized, because I was painfully shy, and I think I probably still am, I'm a recovering shy person, and fully sort of academic, shut down, all head led, all of that sort of stuff. So actually, say, finding drama in school and finding a wonderful drama teacher is Mr. Omar, who really sort of opened me up to a possibility that there was something other than pure academia. And yeah, I mean, psychology won out because that was what I was primarily interested in at the time, and I was doing well in it, and I was interested, so that's what I did. And I did that for 4 years, and I loved it. But towards the end, because I think I had a lot of interest in various different areas. I mean, there's so many different branches of psychology, and they're all delicious. And I think I found that you were the expectation was that you would be funneled into a particular discipline, and I didn't love anything that much to really dedicate myself to it, and so I sort of lost my way to it. And to just cement how much of a perfectionist I was, I didn't get the result that I wanted of my degree. And my first reaction was, I have wasted 4 years of my life. What am I going to do now? So one took a couple of years to reset and figure out what was going on, and then conjure up the drama thing. Yeah, I was very lucky to be accepted fairly rapidly. And that's kind of where I started to realize that you are in an environment where it is fine to be wrong, do something wrong, to try things out. You are not explicitly judged for it. It's expected that you find your way and you make mistakes and all of that sort of stuff. And it was such a revelation to me, but it was a quiet revelation. I mean, it took a long time for me to work out and practice being fine with it. And so, yes, I'm a recovering perfectionist, and I'm still working on being relaxed about everything. But that was a big move for me, and being able to have really wonderful teachers around, and some that I'm still in touch with, and it's. I think it was one of the teachers I had this absolutely delicious thing that she said to me that has always stuck with me. It's this idea that being an actor, you have to be extroverted, you have to not necessarily be academic. There's this idea of what an actor is. And yeah, and that is absolutely not me. I am the most introverted person you will probably find in the world. And she said, actually, you will find quite a few actors are in this sort of, actually, this tortured artist type thing, but it's not all sort of reality, fame, big star stuff. And she said, actually, I think theatre is the shy person's revenge. And when she said that, I was like, oh my God, that is that is me.
Yeah.
And that
Well,
that kind of, yeah, it
yeah.
explains why I got into drama in the first place, because I think it was I suppose at one point it was being able to do something that wasn't necessarily you. It was playing a mask, it was playing a role, it was all of that sort of stuff. But it was also, but it's now a chance to tell stories, and because theatre and film embodies people and what they go through and opening up people's experiences and empathy and stuff. So it's like it's all really sort of delicious.
Mm.
So yeah, that's kind of where I kind of went with it. I was at GSA for a year on their master's course, and
Hmm.
yeah, transformative in many different ways, and just have been trying to carve my way ever since and refine what I kind of was taught and what I discovered about myself through that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
And I think that's a big thing that you mention, that eh, trying to move on from that perfectionist kind of mindset,
Mm.
because so many of us are scared to make mistakes, and it takes a lot of bravery and experience to be able to go into somewhere like a rehearsal room
Mm.
and not to be afraid of falling flat on your face.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's where the juice is. That's where you get the stuff from. And I've probably said it to you before, and some others. We never see the big celebrity actors in the rehearsal room, and there's a reason for that,
Yeah.
because they are really great at making mistakes,
Yeah. Yeah.
because they're willing to go in and just balls to the wall, just
Yeah.
give it all it's got. And if they make a mistake, that's not a bad thing. That's a learning experience. And
Absolutely.
I remember you saying that to me. You learned something from it.
Yeah. Always. I mean, I think what was I think it was John Cleese that said like on the throes of like perfection, like it's something that what I understood from it was like perfectionism is dead. It is complete. Whereas it's better to focus on being excellent. So you've still got room to breathe, but you're
Uh-huh.
also still learning all of that stuff. So yeah, that idea of being able to make mistakes and being comfortable within
Mm.
yourself, and it's a constant thing. Actually, it is a thing you have to constantly be confronted with. And I mean, there's a moment I'm thinking of now, and it was very recently when I was doing It's a Wonderful Life. Day
Uh-huh.
one in the rehearsal room, it was like, okay, shall we just get up and see what we can do? And
Oh, day ones aren't they
yeah,
the most terrifying thing? And I saw some other people posting things like some celebrity actors and that they were posting going, day one in the rehearsal room.
yeah, it really is that. And I was like, I am panicking. I am really focused on myself, what I'm doing. I'm sure I've got the lines in my head, but now I'm doing them in in person, and I don't know what I'm doing. I feel shut down, and it's all of that stuff. And then you sort of hang on, just take a moment. I am pretty sure everyone else in this room is feeling exactly the same, and we're still going for it.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely fine. And in fact, the sooner you do something ridiculous, I think it was Bill Nye, I think, said in one of his many interviews, I think he said something like, I just needed to do something ridiculous in order to get over how uncomfortable it was, which I think was something like,
Yeah.
if I can find a moment to put my hands over my head in the room. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what it is, but as soon as you sort of like, okay, discard all of this ego and panic and just
Yeah.
jump in and see what happens, then fine.
Well, you saying about ego and panic. On the flip side of that, there's some interview that I listened to, and they said about working with Meryl Streep on the Mamma Mia film, I think it was,
All right.
and the other actors said how nervous they were in the room, there's Meryl Streep, and oh my gosh, and we're all here, and we're all gonna say the lines, we're all gonna sing, and I think the gist was that Meryl was one of the first people to go, and of course everyone is like, oh my god, and she got up and she completely fluffed it. Now, some people said they were like, she did that on purpose to put people at ease, and I'm like, wouldn't you just? I mean,
Yeah,
it just
absolutely.
cuts through. The moment someone is brave enough to go, well, made a mistake, didn't I?
Yeah,
Kind
yeah.
of, it just, oh, right,
Yeah.
we're all here for the same thing.
It's absolutely right, and also being able to do it in good grace. Like
Yeah.
there, it is a vulnerable position we always seem to put ourselves in, and it's especially potent in day one.
Mm.
So being able to be like, okay, I really am going to do something stupid at some point. It's fine. It is fine. But because you're so vulnerable in that moment, if, say, any criticism or someone's opinion sort of snipes through that, it
Mm.
hurts quite considerably when really all we're
Sure.
trying to do is play and see what happens.
Mm.
So I think I can understand. I think you mentioned, like when you were talking to Jason last week, that Meryl Streep doesn't like people seeing the rehearsal process
Yes.
because
Yeah.
it is vulnerable.
Yeah.
And it looks like bad acting, and it's like, well, yeah, that's true because we're all trying to find our way in order to refine it into making something as special as we can.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me take you on now. So we're in a show, we've got a part, we've rehearsed it, we've made all them mistakes in the rehearsal room, egg on our faces, and we've polished it and we've got it somewhere wonderful. But what about when, like you've done a part in a show and you've reprised the role for a second time and then for a third time, especially when you're taking it on tour, because you've done Journey's End, and I was in one iteration of that with you,
Yeah.
but you've played the part three times.
Yeah.
So can you tell us about the part you played and what that was like?
Yes, I was. Had the distinct pleasure of playing Lieutenant Osborne in R.C. Sheriff's Journey's End, produced by Theatre Reviver, directed by the lovely Graham Paltney. um, I mean, that is the first thought I had was, I am too young for this role. I don't see how this is going to work. And this is me getting in my own way, which is something we're always working on. But yeah, the first iteration I had of it is like, well, he is clearly the oldest member of this troupe. So for anyone who doesn't know about Journey's End, it follows a group of soldiers in a dugout, and it's basically what we would now call an examination of PTSD. So
Yeah.
the Captain Stanhope, is he's been doing it for a very long time, and he's refused to go home, and he's been drinking so much, and he is clearly on a spiral. So Osborne, as he is termed uncle within this particular camp, is the uh, the pillar of strength, shall we
And
say.
Osborne is the part you played, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. So yeah, that it was even though I felt like, okay, I'm probably too young for it at the time I first played it, there is something within his character makeup of being that sort of strong, listening, uh, being a support whilst
Mm.
still carrying his own difficulties. So yeah, it is a dream to play, and certainly in the context of a war play as well. I mean, Graham was wonderful in being able to cut through that idea of, we don't play the tragedy in a war play
Yeah.
because no one will care. You play the lightness of it. You find the
Yes.
humour. You
Mm.
find all of that stuff. You play against what the given circumstances are, and that's how you
Yeah.
get people really on board.
Mm.
So Yeah, it was a mammoth part, and a lot is involved in it, and trying to discover where everything goes. I mean, it's the same thing of like do lots of text work and trust that what you can bring will respond to whatever your fellow actors are bringing you.
Mm.
And it was nice because we did 3 different iterations of it. There were adjustments in the cast as well. So
Mm.
even though people play the same parts, they bring their own particular slant on it. They've got their own energy. They've got their things that they focus on, and it's acutely a thing for someone like Osborne's character, who is a listening and responding kind of character. That
And
you
did you
open
find that that changed your performance each of those times, depending on who the actor was and what they were giving you?
Yeah, yeah. I think there's certainly a through line of what needs to be achieved in the context of the story and the play. But I think the moment to moment thing of, oh, that's really ascendant with you, which may not necessarily have been ascendant with the other chap, but they brought something else that was ascendant in other ways. And it's like, oh, I really do have to make sure that I am responding and listening and not falling into the trap of, oh, well, this is the way I did it before and I really enjoyed doing it that way before, and I'm going to be a stick in the mud about it. It's like you literally cannot do that. I think yeah, our mentor, I think it was, yeah, Julia Carey, who would
Julia
say,
Carey, yeah,
who we've worked with many times, and who
many
is
times, yeah.
the I think the person who I dedicate any sort of
Yeah.
success I've achieved.
And was actually my head of acting when I was at, because we were
Yeah,
at Guildford at different times. Yes,
yeah,
so I
yeah,
had Julia as my head of acting. Yeah.
yes, and she did the film course, the screen acting for me.
Mm.
It was lovely. Oh, it's like, yes, I love this woman. But it's, I think, yeah, I'm sure she said something like, if you have to give the scene away. There's no time to entertain sort of ego or anything like that. If for example, if you want to appear sexy, you are some sort of, I don't know, I don't think I'd necessarily be cast as something quite like sexy or debonair,
Oh.
although it's been tried at some point. Like it's a kind of reverse law. It's like you do not play being sexy. You find the person you find attractive. You imbue them with sexiness, and that sort of reflects back
Ah,
in a way. So it's like,
yeah.
yeah, get rid of ego, give everything away, and by some weird reverse law, you will be more impressive because you're not making it about you. Which is, yeah, which is, I think that's kind of the crux with anything really, but certainly
Mm.
with a play like Journey's End that had a different cast. It's like you've you always hope that you develop and enrich and find even more different facets to a character. There's no people don't behave logically or with any sort of through line. So as soon as you abandon that idea, anything becomes possible. But in the context of the story and what you bring, the audience does that work for you. That's what the character of the audience is. So as long as you're telling the story as best as you can and responding to what is being brought to you and what you'll get, and you try to give as much as possible, as generous as you can possibly be. It's the improvisational thing of yes and. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, we take this energy on, great. Here's what I give.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's I think that's what the joy is of it, of trying to find more precision, more enrichment, more everything about refining telling the story in as economical and as skillfully as you can possibly do it.
Uh,
While also being open to oh, that's different today, because
Mm.
it will be. It always
Yeah,
is. And being fine.
that's the joy of theatre, isn't it?
Yeah.
Every performance is different. I want to pick up on what you mentioned about acting for camera, which we studied together with Julia Carey, and she taught us our skills and technique for acting for camera, along with Corey Peterson as well, who has been a great mentor to us for acting for movies and films and things. And I want to ask you about self-tapes, because this is a big subject and it's come up recently. Sir Jonathan Pryce, he has come out and said how he feels that self-tapes are such a new and a hassle, and I mean, the gist from what I heard him saying was that even actors of his ilk and his age and his experience are still having to do these kind of put yourself on tape
Hmm.
for something. And I know you helped me with many a self tape, including for Journey's End when I was coming on board to join you. I did a self
Yeah.
tape for that. Um, how have you tackled that as an actor? This self tape world we now find ourselves in.
That is a very good thing. Question. I mean, I think it's, even though it's a weird thing to do, self tapes. I still like to think of it's still helpful to be able to. It's still a helpful thing, even though we always want to say be in the room and meet people and stuff like that. Sometimes that isn't possible because of expense and travel and time and all of that sort of stuff. So there is a
Mm.
relative freedom in doing self tapes, which we should embrace and be happy with, because I don't think they're going away.
Yeah.
But in terms of, well, I suppose my journey in doing learning, I mean, self tapes themselves are, you're basically filmmaker, actor, editor, everything. So it's a good, it was certainly a huge learning curve for me, because I don't think I did self tapes until I saw it was a handful of years now, a production company called Do or Die Studios posted on then Twitter
Yes.
the like a self-tape competition, which there was I think like a handful of scripts that they sent out that were written by people that submitted it,
Mm.
and all of those tapes would then be assessed. In a, there's a very cold word to say, it would
Yeah.
be watched, but ultimately judged
Yeah.
by a guest casting director at that time, and a
Yeah.
winner and runners up would be chosen. So I thought, you know what, I'm a bloody good actor. I'm going to enter this competition, and I am going to be the best thing that they've ever seen. I think that was more or less what my thinkings were, and try to square that circle with me being a shy and retiring introvert. um, yeah, so that was kind of my first thing of like, okay, well, it's a scene, and yeah, I can act and do all that sort of stuff, and yeah, very very quickly humbled, and not in terms of uh, like there was any explicit judgments going on, but I think it's because you weren't chosen as or flagged up as someone who did a good tape. So it's kind of like, oh, this is cognitive dissonance. I don't know what's going on here. How do I improve? And I think it really is a case of you've got to keep doing them. You've just got to
Yeah.
keep giving it a go, and you've got to try at, and it's the hardest thing, and it's something that you still have to cultivate. And I know that you and I have spoken many times about it.
Many times.
Is trying to acquire an objectivity with what you're watching. So you, it's awful watching yourself. I cannot bear it. I think it's Miriam Margolyes that said, you don't watch yourself because all you see are the mistakes. And
Ah,
it's like, yeah, that is true. So you've got to sort of say, okay, if I am trying to be objective about this, did that beat land? Did I understand what's going on? What is the scene? What is happening in the scene? And it's just trying to unpick those moments. And what's lovely about the camera is that it is your best friend. But I think it was like Michael Caine who said, it's like it shows that it picks up on bad acting, or it picks up on acting. You do not want to be discovered acting.
yeah.
So
Which in itself is to anyone out there who hasn't done a self tape, or for any new graduate or anyone in training, when someone says to you, right, just don't act.
yeah,
Where'd you go with that?
yeah, it's an impossible note.
Yeah.
um, and it is kind of like, and it's this thing that you always have to juggle of always being in this sort of parallel mind. You are at once doing your best to inhabit a character, but you've also got the God's eye view thing of, technically, is this working?
Mm,
Is it reading on whatever medium it is and molding it to whatever, say, the shot might be? And I think that was a big thing when I discovered watching myself back, was that I wasn't physical enough. Like
right. Yeah.
it was kind of like I was just sort of staring off camera at my scene partner and reciting lines and thinking that I was responding to them. Whereas I found that actually, if you find ways to make it physical, like it's all in the breath, or you turn away, or use the eyes in some sort of way. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I can only speak for me, because that's what I notice and what I feel. If I'm doing it, it is very obvious to me that I'm not connecting in some way, or I'm not inhabiting it.
Hmm.
But it is a case of just do as many as you can, and again, being brave enough to fail. And if you've got a lovely circle of friends, like I have you and I have many others, that would be like, I don't know if this is any good, what do you think? And
Yeah.
taking it all in good grace and seeing if there's things that they would suggest. Yeah, it's a challenging thing, the self tape. And I think probably the more challenging thing about it is the the lack of feedback that
Yeah.
you don't get, because no one really has time.
Yeah.
It's a fast moving industry. So I certainly found it quite useful to engage in like casting director workshops using a self tape medium in order to
Yeah.
submit, because that's a really handy way for me to be like, well, I think this is what I'm doing. Is it reading? What are
Mm,
your responses to it? And having that point of view from someone in the industry who watches them for a living and
yeah.
makes decisions quite quickly and is very like remarkably savvy about what they watch,
Mm,
is really very valuable. And yeah, I know I think there's a mutual friend of ours who has been doing a self tape for fun every day
yeah.
for years, because it just keeps the practice going, and
Yeah.
the the clarity of what you're trying to do, and also memorizing and making sense of those texts and all of that sort of stuff. So
That daily practice, that daily, and that probably sounds a lot to people, making that a daily thing, but you don't have to make anything arduous. It's like doing something vocal every day, do something physical, like going for a walk.
yeah,
People who want to get fit and out there again, you start by building off by doing a walk every day.
yeah,
You could build something in. And obviously that certainly paid off for you when you were doing your do or die submissions because you ended up winning one of them, didn't you, Mr. Murphy?
I did. I
Oh, yes,
did.
you did.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was the one that was judged by Theo Park, and oh, it was a handful of years ago now. I was actually, I genuinely stunned. Yeah, there's the journey for you. It's like I come into it as a complete novice, being like, "Yes, I'm going to be completely great at this," and then when it
And you get a push,
and then
and then
suddenly,
you like,
oh, that is really rather wonderful. Yeah, and I think that particular tape. See, I do sort of wonder because I think you can do like a really amazing tape, but the character just doesn't necessarily mesh with your particular energy, your USB, your
yeah,
visual, anything like that. So
uh-huh.
certainly, as we know, and I'm sure that many of us in the industry realize that certainly in terms of screen work, how you look
Oh,
is
yeah,
pretty much a big deciding factor. It's just like whether we can
yeah.
map, the audience can map what they're seeing to this person,
What
and
is
does
it?
it seem
It's
achievable?
because we judge a book by its cover, don't we? The
Yeah,
moment you see someone, someone would look at me and go, boom, I would put them as that kind of a person or that kind of
absolutely.
a
Yeah,
character. And there's no way of escaping that. I mean,
yeah,
like we've spoken about before, the big Hollywood actors who had a successful role, it got them noticed, got their foot in the door, and then they went on to do more films of those same type of characters. You look at like Robert De Niro
mhm,
and Al Pacino, and it wasn't until Robert De Niro was a lot further down in his career and really established that he suddenly went, right, now I can play something else. Now
absolutely.
I can play against type and that
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. So that's exactly right. So I think just on the fortune of that winning self tape was that that particular character that I had, I was like, I think this is actually very easy to do because it's all very familiar. And I think I only did like one or two takes, and I
Yeah.
looked it back and I was like, yeah, I'm happy with that. I don't think I can improve on it. And I
And
think,
maybe that's exactly that thing that you were saying about that when people say not to act,
mm,
kind of it's that relaxation
yeah,
of I I know the lines, I've got the lines there, I know the scene, I know the situation, I've got everything, I've got the tapes playing, as I know Julia Carey says. She's
mhm,
like, you've got all that info, the tapes are playing, just let it play.
yeah,
Don't try and force or show stuff because that just clouds the water,
yeah.
really.
It betrays acting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, I think you kind of you. I mean, it could be different for everyone, but I certainly know for me instinctively now that I've worked with myself for a while, you can sort of intuit, yeah, that I can conceivably put myself in that shoes, or I seem that that's the kind of energy that people would say that I've done. Like it's like completely ridiculous, but it was so funny to me. I did a helped out with a short film recently,
mhm,
and I was engaged as a day player to play a reverend. So I was like, okay, I've got the dog collar on, and I'm just doing that. And the number of people on that set that asked me if I genuinely was a vicar, like it was so funny. I was like, I'm actually not. I'm afeared I will burst into flames at any moment for this sin. And I think it was just because, you know what, the look, the energy,
yeah,
it's that kind of does all the work for you. I mean, I think certainly in screen work, it's a filmmaker's art, and the actor is there in service of what the filmmakers are trying to achieve. And
uh-huh,
often that is literally done with how you look. So all you need to do is just embody it, say the lines, affect someone in whatever way that might be,
yeah,
and that will be absolutely fine. And I think that is the case of like always try to just don't act, just be in that situation. It's so flippant to say, but it's so difficult, as we know. Um, yeah.
And now that you've brought up about films, I want to ask you just briefly before we move on to our plenary of me asking you a list of questions. Um, I would like to ask you about working on small scale films and especially on student films, because I know that you've worked on a few student films and there's a tendency for actors like Ian McKellen and Miriam Margolyes to lend their skills to student filmmakers. How have you found working with student filmmakers, and what do you feel the importance is in doing that?
um, I honestly think like students are. I mean, filmmakers, student filmmakers are remarkable because, I mean, if I mean, I did a short film, I think just last weekend, and I, I, I was just acutely aware I am a tiny, tiny cog in this grand machine. All of these people whirring about are doing really clever things that I have absolutely no idea all of the technical aspects that they're doing. All I'm like asking for is, what do you want to achieve with this shot? Where's the shot? What are we doing? And I will try and do that. But yeah, I mean, the students are the future, and I certainly like. I found that I've by undertaking short films myself, because primarily, as you know, I've done theatre for like
Mm.
10, 12 years. So
Yeah.
my relative experience in doing film in on set is fairly is pales in comparison to the theatre stuff that I've done. So it was useful to me to reintroduce myself to being on set and realizing that there's it's a different approach that you need to film rather than theatre. So theatre traditionally, as we know, would be you rehearse lots and lots of times, you do it many, many times, and you try and refine it. Whereas in film, you kind of have to have done all of your work prior to coming on set, and then maybe you do it the scene a couple of times if you're
Hmm.
lucky, if you're like a
Yeah.
one wonder or something, and then it's gone. Put it in a bottle. It's done.
Yeah.
So it's really useful for me to be able to become acquainted with that particular way of working as well, but also like what can be achieved based on what shots are being planned, how big of a performance you need to be, what are they trying to achieve. I mean,
Uh-huh.
it could, if I suppose this is where it's quite useful with this whole non-acting thing to do, because as we said, the camera picks up on if you're acting and everyone sees it immediately. But it's like the film I just did was yeah, a few of the shots were yeah, could you just tap on the table in a to reflect the character's anxiety. It's like literally just my hand, and I'm like,
Yeah.
am I actually doing anything? But it's like it's not up to me whether
Mm.
I'm doing anything. It's like they are trying to achieve a certain shot, and you embody it as best as you can.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really really I find it a fascinating way to really sort of learn the craft and like just appreciate like the filmmakers and stuff, and also like being patient is an enormous thing because
Uh,
um, I'm sure everyone that knows who's worked on film, it's like the actors do spend a lot of time waiting, and sometimes the filmmakers are very apologetic about it, but I think
mm.
that's, I mean, I don't mind because it allows time for you to get sort of embodied and focused and relaxed as much as in so much as you can.
Mm.
But because you're such a small cog in the machine, they're doing all the work.
Well, I remember an interview with Maggie Smith, and she said that she had a week when she was dressed up as McGonagall, sitting in a trailer, and it was snowy outside, and they didn't use her all week. And I was just like, "That's Maggie Smith."
Yeah,
They just kept her in a trailer, and yeah,
yeah,
because you're a cog in the machine.
yeah. I mean, that's when I got to do a very, very tiny part in a feature film. I think it was my very first screen credit. I think I was very, very nervous, as you can imagine.
Uh-huh.
And I think what struck me was like, oh yeah, actors are sort of protected on set. It's like, don't let them go by themselves anywhere.
Yeah,
And it's like when it feels ridiculous, and it's ridiculous to observe, but it's actually desperately important, because you are, I guess, the commodity. You are the face of what is going on here.
yeah,
So you need to be looked after as best as they can, and in return, you have to be present and available and patient, is what I'm starting to learn. Because yeah, they are doing all of the work, and it is so difficult. I mean, I know there's like time constraints on films and sets and stuff like that. I
yeah.
do not know how they do it. It is an enormous undertaking, and just to be a part of a film is like, I've got an easy job. It's wonderful.
Well, I remember hearing part of a roundtable interview with Viola Davies,
Oh yeah,
and she said to the other actors, because they were talking about all the wonderful trappings of being a movie star, and the things that you get, and the trailers, and that was a big thing. They were talking about the trailers, and through all this kind of hubbub around the table and everyone being really joyful, she said, "You do understand that the trailer is just a gilded cage." It was like along those lines. She was like,
yeah,
they they give you that trailer so they know where you are and where they can find their commodity, because that it was like, oh yeah, that's
yeah,
right, isn't it?
really
Because
is.
on this production, they are paying for you, you're their thing, and they want to know where you are, and
Absolutely.
that you're there when they need you.
Yeah.
Um, but also with the student films, what a wonderful thing in that you can find it beneficial to develop those skills and that familiarity of how things are done, how um, shot sizes work, and all that kind of thing. But also for those student filmmakers as well, to have professional actors that will come in and work with them and give them that first-hand experience of working with live actors and have them there. You're not just getting a friend to jump in. You've got professionals there with you, and they're willing to collaborate and listen and work with you. It's a
Yeah, yeah.
wonderful thing.
I think that's lovely. I mean, I don't think I make any pretensions to knowing exactly what I'm doing. I just do something, and I hope that it's fine, and I'll be directed in some way. But yeah, I think it is joyful, and I do hope that like whatever that I'm in service to the film, and if there's something that I am doing, or any sort of input that I could provide that might be valuable, I am very happy to do so. But it's also like, I will be focused on doing what I can to the best I can.
Mm.
And if they ask, they're fine. I'm certainly not one of those to be like, excuse me. Like I'm very malleable in that
Well,
way.
any production is very lucky to have you. So, Ray, we've come to that point where we've talked over many, many things. We've talked about your Shakespeare work. We've talked about drama school, about life before drama school, about self-tapes, about filming. Now, I would like to ask you a list of questions to find out your answers to them. And it's a list of questions which was first initiated by Bernard Pivot, who was a famous French TV personality. And the list of questions was made ultra famous by James Lipton on Inside the Actors Studio.
Oh, very good.
And
Okay.
I have adapted it for our own use, and for polite audience, I have taken out the curse word option.
Oh.
Sorry, you can tell me that privately. Um, so, nothing to stress about, as I said to Jason last week.
Okay.
Just whatever pops into your head and enjoy. So, Ray Murphy, what is your favourite word?
Oh, it changes very frequently.
What's the word today?
I think at the moment it is a German word, Backpfeifengesicht.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And I think it means to possess a face that should be slapped.
Oh, Ray, you see, this is why you're one of my best friends. Okay, Ray, your least favourite word, please.
Biannually.
Oh, can I ask why?
Because there is no situation in which that is clear. Does that mean twice a year or every 2 years? It's like, just don't use the word.
Got you. Got you. Very nice. Okay, what excites you? Keep it clean.
Oh my God. Discovery.
Oh, I like that. I like that. What doesn't excite you? What turns you off?
Closed-mindedness.
Ah, bang on with you there. A sound or a noise that you love?
Can I say the silence of heavy snowfall?
Oh, that's a very good one. Because I think we all know that sound where it's just kind of like the air outside is just softened.
It's just, yeah.
It's like the world outside has become a recording studio. It's just,
Yeah.
what sound or noise do you hate?
Oh gosh. Oh, I don't know. I know. People arguing.
Yeah, yeah. I can feel that one. I'm
I
there with
shut
you.
instantly.
Mhm. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
uh, Psychologist slash psychiatrist.
Yes, absolutely. I could see you doing that, dear boy. What profession would you not like to attempt?
Sales.
Oh, I have to agree. Oh, oh.
Literally a superpower. I don't know how they do it.
Although so many of us actors have had to work in sales, we've had to do it.
And I suppose fundamentally we are in service of selling ourselves
We sell ourselves.
in a cleanest possible way.
Um, what is your favourite expression or saying? And I know you have many good ones because often you will come out with a saying and I go, Ray, where did that come from? But what is your favourite?
I don't know.
Do you know what my one is at the moment? Can I share?
Yes.
David.
This is very on brand.
Yeah. David.
It's really boring, but the one I keep coming to is like attracts like.
Ah. I'm getting all this energy stuff from you, Ray. This is a real big theme. I never realised how much of a theme it was through your career and your life. Energy. Energy, yeah.
I guess it is. That's probably why I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just vibing all the time.
Like attracts like, good energy. That's what it is.
Indeed.
And, oh, last one for you. Now, this question. Take it however you will. We're just using it as a kind of kind of a thing. Yeah, I lost my words there, Ray. If heaven exists and you were to be met by whomever, what would you like them to say to you?
Is it? This is me being very naughty. My initial reaction is like, I don't want that approval. Go away. But if I'm to indulge,
would it be approval that you wanted?
Not anymore. I don't think. I think I would. I think I would like to. If I had any sort of positive impact on anyone's life, then that is very nice.
Oh, that's lovely. That's a lovely thought, isn't it? The positive impact that you would have. And you've definitely had a positive impact on my life and many others, Ray.
Well, I can say exactly the same to you, my dear. You have been a revelation.
A revelation, Ray. Thank you so much. Well, Ray, that's me closing up my book. Thank you so much for joining me for this impromptu pre-record of the Sunday session. It's been a delight. We've talked over Shakespeare, self-tapes, drama school, acting for camera, everything. And I'm sure that people can reach you on our British Theatre Skills Facebook or on the Instagram. Just to recap that Ray and we are collaborators in British Theatre Skills. This is our baby, and it's so lovely to have you here, Ray. And it's really strange for me to be interviewing you, but I like it.
Yes, this is. I was terrified to do this.
I know, and I didn't want to say that to everyone, but you were absolutely pooing your pants before we did this. You were just like, what do I expect? What do I need to look like? What kind of background?
I know, yeah. I mean, I think I did this whole if God exists type thing of like, if you had a positive impact. I'm like, I don't know. I have no pretenses. I have no idea. I could be entirely insufferable. But yes, this has been a joy. So thank you, and it's lovely to be to examine all of these things, because sometimes we just don't think about them, do we?
Isn't it? It's really nice, and that is one of the big things we spoke about with British Theatre Skills community, is having a space where you can speak and chat and connect with people about stuff that sometimes doesn't get spoken about all that often, or you might have questions. And like we've said, people can reach out to yourself or to I and just ping us a message, or even chat in our Facebook group or on threads and that kind of thing. Just before we go, and before I hang up, I just want to shout out to all the people that have joined us on here, because I'm sure when I stop recording, I will lose any and all messages that are on here. So we've had a lovely message from Kath Humphrey. She said, absolutely loved listening, really captivating and so open and honest. Thank you, Ray, and thank you, James. Thank you so much, Kath, for joining us. I've seen lots of lovely faces here. Nick Wishner, thank you for joining us. Thank you for hosting us last night at the Fallen Angel Bar. We did a play reading at the Fallen Angel Bar in Guildford last night. Thank you so much for having us. Emily, Carl, lots of other friends and family, thanks for joining us. I think it's that time for us to sign off, Ray.
It's that time.
It's that time. So I'll use my what's become a catchphrase now, I think, and see you down the road.
See you.